So what's going on today, guys? It's Brennan Johnson L with you here with kind of an update video for the computer. I know I haven't put a whole lot out on this channel as of recently, but I've been working on other things and other channels my channel has taken the back burner on a bunch. I think the only thing that I've put out within recent memory is the An Idiot Plays, and we are planning on recording more of those, but me and the other person, our schedules are kind of conflicting at the moment, so we have had to put that on the back burner. Alright, I'm sorry about that. So I have moved up to a new audio system. What you're hearing right now is a Blue Yeti plugged in to literally over USB. It's worked out pretty good. It gets a little noisy. You can pretty much hear the air conditioning running all the time. But as you guys see here, I have moved from the 3570K on my gaming rig to a 5930K. I've overclocked it to, I think the turbo will go up to 4.4 gigahertz, so pretty decent. It's like at 1.25 volts is what it hits on that. So I've also upped my RAM as well because I had to get a new motherboard in order to handle the new chip, and it used DDR4 instead of DDR3, so I couldn't keep my old memory. Right now I'm running quad channel 32 gigabytes. The memory, according to BIOS, is 2400 megahertz. So as you guys can see, it's not exactly a slouch like it wasn't a slouch before. I do have some bad things to report. That the motherboard that I was using has died. It will not recognize any RAM that we plug into it whatsoever. I still am on the gaming rig running two 970s and SLI, so these are also overclocked as well to 1400 megahertz comfortably. That's at 1.2 volts on both. So very smooth running. It goes super smooth. As you guys can see, no hiccups at all. The only program that I am currently having is with the Elgato Game Capture. It basically makes the computer unusable anytime I open it. As far as overclocking goes, I have tried using the BIOS and the MSI supplied MSI Command Center. The Command Center is actually pretty nice, although I do not like that if you plug in a CPU clock speed that it doesn't agree with, your computer freezes and you have to forcefully shut it down. So you may get some corrupted Windows files that way. Corsair Link is still one of the clunky programs that I just don't like the way it looks, don't like the way it handles, and it doesn't like to save my profiles. Although it is nice to be able to change the LEDs to match. I no longer have the blue LED in my system. The little light bar at the top, it's now just completely dark in there except for the two GeForce GTX logos on the side of the 970s. And I have also changed the cooling system in my system to an H100i. I think like a GTX, or oh no, it is an H100i GTX. I saw the box, and changed that to match about the same color as the graphics card, so it's green. So everything's just kind of blacked out, very quiet. This cooler is immensely quiet. If you're looking for a very quiet system, I'd recommend this over my old H80i, which is now in my little brother's computer. Same motherboard and processor and RAM as I had before, but the motherboard has died, so we're trying to figure it out. I'll put up a review of his rig. He's got right now, we're still in the troubleshooting phase of trying to figure out what's wrong with it, so an i3, an unlocked i3, and a GTX 970 asus strix edition. So I'll definitely be able to show you guys that. Alright, so let's open this up on the other monitor. And alright, hold on. Alright, so these are the Firestrike results that I have been getting. I was making sure there was nothing on here that you guys can really try and hack, or get my personal information off of. So if you guys are ever wondering, I will post a link to all of these scores, well, the high ones, So when we were diagnosing my little brothers, we decided to go and stick his card in my system. So this was the 970 Strix. I haven't overclocked it, just left it out of the box the way it comes. Just left my stock overclock of 3.9 and ran 32 gigs of RAM, all that. So as you guys can see, it got a 9953 on the normal Fire Strike. This is not the Extreme or Ultimate Edition or anything like that, just a standard Fire Strike, something that I know it could do, because we were originally suspecting that it might have been the graphics card that died. So as you guys can see, an 11,138 is a pretty good score. So you guys can see exactly everything that it has, and so I'll definitely link this for you guys that are interested. Yet again, this was on a 5930K, so keep in mind that is all 12 threads enabled and all 6 cores enabled. I haven't disabled anything, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Very, very quiet card. It made this system immensely quiet, because right now I actually hear my GPU's running. If you guys can't hear it over the mic, you probably hear a little bit of buzzing, and that's probably from me bumping the table a bit and slight vibrations in the house. This microphone will actually pick up. I haven't gotten a shock mount for it yet. After overclocking the cards, and I think this was at 1300 megahertz or something like that. I haven't done a full one at the highest stable thing that I have found for the graphics cards, which was 1450. I don't know how this motherboard will hold up to that, or how the cards are holding up now. I have it overclocked to 1400 right now, so I can rerun the test, and I will post an update if it gets a higher score than this. But yes, definitely a massive, massive improvement, considering that what we had before, 30K, 3570, 13,000, 14,383 looks like my highest on my old system. So if we set these side by side, well, thank you for maximizing that, even though I didn't want it maximized. So you guys can see the massive difference. So now this score, which was better than 98% of all results, this is before the 980 Ti and all that came out, or really hit mainstream, I should say. I think they were out at the time. Better than 98% when it first started. I had the original thing showing you guys this result, I believe. And now I'm better than 99%, so it puts me in that top 1%, which is kind of an elitist thing, but it also makes you feel good at the same time, being able to say I'm in the top 1% of people worldwide for basically how good my computer is. And yes, of course, this isn't a massive, massive thing. I know of some other benchmarking software that is more, I guess, widely adopted, but I figured this gave me a nice representation of about where I was. So as you guys can see, running the same exact hard drive or SSD. My OS has changed from Windows 7 to Windows 10 since then. Motherboard's changed, memory has changed, all that. The graphics cards, the power supply, and my boot devices, or my drives, are pretty much the same. I have gotten rid of all the hard drives out of my rig. I'm now only running solid state. Now keep in mind that's only 2 SATA drives and 1 M.2 drive. So, and the M.2 drive is 250 gigabytes. It's basically just kind of what I'm recording to right now, something that's locally on the system, isn't going to generate a whole lot of heat, but has enough space where I can record to it quickly and edit on it as kind of a scratch drive. Without having to really start to, hammer the SATA interface is pretty bad. It is like I think like an 850 Evo. But as you guys can see, the system has improved. Would I recommend for a normal gamer to move to a 5930A? No. There's the 5820K, which was about $100 cheaper and runs pretty much about the same. It doesn't have as much overclocking headroom from what I could read. I didn't buy the 5820K, But the motherboard that I got is right around the 220 mark. The RAM that I got was right around the 220 mark. So, as you know, prices may vary, and especially with CES going on right now, you know, things are definitely going to start changing. This motherboard has been great, though. It does take a little bit longer to boot up, but I really don't care about that too much as long as it boots up in an appropriate amount of time. I don't want it to take, 5 minutes to boot up, but if I have to wait a minute for it to boot up, I don't mind that. It's not like I'm in a hurry anyway. My laptop I always leave on, and it's always on my desk, so if I need to look up something real quick, I can just do that or use my phone. So the desktop, I prefer having something that feels a little bit more thorough. So that's pretty much it. The computer has gotten much, much quieter. It also doesn't act like a space heater for this room, even though my processor is at, what was it, 140 TDP. Right now, this is live recording. You guys can see 6% of the CPU. Sorry, I have this cold. So as you guys can see, I'm in overview. So these are all of the cores and all of the threads being used. So you guys can see it's a true, this system recognizes as 12 cores. And it's barely doing anything right now. 7%. So as you guys can tell, it is just breezing through it. I mean, the memory that I'm using right now, and especially with having shadow play constantly in the background, it's just there. It's nice to be able to have a whole lot of headroom. I'm using like half my RAM right now as, all this and in standby, including all of that. I still have half my RAM to go, which is nice when you're editing, to have a lot of RAM to load things into, a lot of things in order to run smoothly. Like I said, though, I will post these scores. I'll post both of these down in the video description. That way you guys can kind of compare and these update over time. So there's both valid results, as you can see. So, keep that in mind. You can see basically what chugged me through was the physics score upgrade from the CPU. So you guys can see it's about twice as powerful. And that's surely in a synthetic test. In real life testing in gaming, I have seen a major improvement in games like Rust and Arma. And the two that I saw the biggest improvement in. Battlefield still runs super smooth. You don't really need too much CPU power for that. Kind of leans more on the graphics cards, and having two 970s and SLI overclocked at that, it just runs pretty much any game that I throw at it super smooth now. Haven't really done too much editing on it, but it does render faster, definitely. But yes, leave a like if you've liked this video, if you kind of want to see more of these update videos, and I'll try and keep these scores updated on this video. This will probably be the poster child video for my channel. As you guys can see at the bottom, I am an Xbox gamer. I still do play on the Xbox immensely. A lot of Destiny, which is why you have so I can keep it, the Bungie homepage. Which, if you guys do play Destiny on the Xbox One, send me a message. I use pretty much the same username all over the place. So Brandon Johnson L. Send me a message through YouTube or a comment, if you will. My raid group has abandoned me, so I'm looking for a new raid group. Still haven't done the hard raid. 314 if you're looking for one. So appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come and watch this. And if you have any questions about the system or any tips on how to make it better, then definitely shoot me a message. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you know something that I don't know, or something, how to kind of fix the Elgato situation, I would appreciate that greatly as well. No other program really seems to have a problem doing that. I did have a problem with shadow play, but that has been fixed now. As always, guys, have a great day. Leave a like if you liked it. Dislike it if you disliked it, and I'll try and find what you guys like. Try and find what my audience likes to watch. I may do some performance benchmarking on a couple of games to show you guys real life actual applications, and that will come out later. I'm going to edit this video and then go to pick up my little brother from high school. Then be able to give him his computer right now, which is just kind of an holdover until we get him a new motherboard or do what we need to do in order to get him back up to where he wants to be. Anyway, guys, have a fantastic day, and I hope you guys come back to see more.